Welcome everyone in this new video tutorial about the multiplayer combat editor. In this video we're going to talk about weapon skills and how you can implement weapons in your game um, without saying while keeping in mind that MCE does not have any built-in weapon logic in its folders. You only have some example of this in the example content MCE provides. So if you want a weapon system, you'll have to build it. And let's talk about what is a weapon system. A weapon system is something where your character is actually carrying an item, something which can give him skills, which can give him bonus stats and stuff like this. So if you want a system like this, you'll have to implement it in your game. And you have, as I was saying, you have some example of this in the example content. You have two kind of weapons, FPS weapon and RPG weapons. FPS weapons are weapons which have skills, and when you equip them, you can use their skills. And if you don't know, if you're having troubles understanding how a weapon can have a skill, let's imagine you have an assault rifle and a shotgun. They are both going to have different skills. The assault rifle is going to shoot with an automatic fire as long as you hold the input, for instance. Whereas the shotgun, you're going to have to click several times to trigger several shots, and it's going to shoot once at a time. So these are the skills you can create for your weapons using MC, but the weapon system itself, you're going to build it. You're going to need to build it, and you have some RPG weapons which do not give skills. You could be giving skills to your character using RPG weapons, but the examples I'm showcasing there are only having some. They are showcasing bonus stats. So when you equip them, you have some bonus stats. So these are the examples you can look for, and you can learn from that. And the weapon system works in a way that you have a character and he equips a weapon. And weapons can be a lot of things. They could be objects, they could be actors, they could be actor components. You don't know. MC cannot know what weapons will be in your game. It depends on what you want to do. And you have a simple way to get a reference to the weapon in your game by using the interface, the combat interface. If you go to your character, you can see that you have in the combat interface, you have find weapon, which asks for a weapon actor and skeletal mesh component. And if you have weapons in your game, and if you want your skills to reference the weapons, for instance, maybe your skills are needs to spawn. How could I say this? Maybe you need to reference your weapon in one way or another in your skills. You could be, when you are in a skill, you can say get weapon socket transform, you can say get skill manager, you can say get stat manager, and you can grab the skills of your weapon, the skills of the stat manager of your weapon. If you want to grab, I don't know, the ammo, the ammunitions and stuff like that. If you want to grab the socket gun muzzle, you can grab these. And if you want to have access to these, if you want skills to be able to use these functions, you will need to properly set up the find weapon function in your character. So maybe you have a reference to the weapon currently equipped by your character, or maybe your character is the weapon, because it won't have maybe you're not going to have a weapon actor in your game. Maybe it's only going to be, maybe the weapon is going to be directly attached to the skeletal mesh of your character, and in that case you're going to return the mesh as the skeletal mesh component. But maybe you have a skeletal mesh, which is your weapon, and in that case you're going to return that value to the skeletal mesh of the find weapon. And returning the proper value here, I'm going to let this value there. Returning the value here will make it so, and I'm going to get rid of the weapon. Properly fitting this is going to make sure your skills can get a reference to your weapon and grab its skill and its stat manager. So, and then, so weapons can be anything from actors to actor component or objects. Maybe in your game you are equipping weapons, and then you need to use the skills in your weapons. And probably your weapons are going to have a skill manager, or maybe your weapons are just going to add skills to your character skill list, and you're going to trigger your skills the same way we are triggering skills for now. But if you want an example of this, I'm just going to open up our character, our example character. I think he has something called input weapon skill. And that function is almost the same than when he uses skills which he has. What I mean by that is that if I open up the example map and play it, our character has skill by default. And when he grabs a weapon, the weapon has skill, and he can trigger his own skills or the skills of his weapon. So for instance, the first person character, the inputs are not properly set up. But I can use my skill and I can grab a weapon and use the weapon skills. And in order to do that, I'm just grabbing the weapon skill manager and I'm triggering the exact same function I'm triggering for the character skill. So basically, what do I mean by that? I mean, no, regardless of your weapon system, triggering skill on the weapons or triggering skill based on the weapons, you are doing exactly the same thing you are doing for triggering the character skill. It's the same thing. So I think I just wanted to break down weapon skills a little bit. It's going to be for another video. I wanted to talk a bit about the weapon system. So, and really, if you need an example, if you want to see how it's behaving in the example, you can check out the BPX player. It has a lot of features regarding the weapon. It's being added to the viewport, and everybody gets to see what weapons you are carrying, etc. So it's going to wrap up that video. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.